Hey guys, today I am super excited to give you a review of the DGA breaker. Fans of the channel will know that I fell in love with the breaker in my very first video, got out of a used bin, absolutely clicked with it right off the bat. And today I got three plastics we're gonna look at. We have the D-line breaker. D-line is their base plastic. We also have the Pro line, or the PL breaker. This is the one I got out of that used bin. Absolutely love this one. And then we also have a very beautiful SP line breaker. This is their cool like champion plastic, but it's got the metal flakes in it. So we're gonna be looking at all three of these, throwing all three of these, comparing the plastics, seeing how they fly. We're at Harmony Bends. It's a really cold day. We're gonna go do this. All right guys, hole one, 500 feet, double OB. We got OB river like 250 feet straight, then again, right in front of the basket. We're gonna throw these guys on just a little bit of hyzer and lay up to the left. D-line. Pro line. And SP. All right, we had D-line and Pro line land right next to each other. The SP one I threw a little bit flatter, but it flexed out of that really nicely. Landed a little bit to the right. We're gonna throw all these from the Pro line. We're gonna start off with the D-line, try to do some anti-flexes over there. Pro line. SP. Gonna try to do a little anti-flex from the SP. Whew, that was unfortunate. See if I have better luck with the Pro line. That was better. And finally, SP. Nice. So the breaker is a pretty unique overstable approach disc. It definitely shares a lot of similarities with like a Discraft Zone. It's got that very flat top. Numbers are 3303. The one really differentiating fact that makes this unique from a lot of those other overstable approach discs is that it has a pretty big bead on the bottom. But I do have a zone here that you can compare with the breaker, and the profiles are extremely similar, save for that bead on the bottom of the breaker. And these three breakers are pretty similar to one another. The Pro line versus the D line, the profiles are like exactly the same. The dome is exactly the same. It's just, they're both just board flat. And I'd say the breaker actually has a pretty unique feel where it almost dips in a little bit from the very edge before you get to the middle of the disc, where it's not puddle top, but it's almost like a very subtle, almost like Berg feel, where, you know, the Berg after the shoulder dips down. The breaker has a very subtle version of that, where just a small dip after the shoulder then comes back up, becomes very flat. The SP is quite a bit different though, where the SP has a pretty pronounced dome on the top compared to the D-line and Pro line. And right off the bat, I've noticed that this Pro line feels a bit more overstable, probably on account for that dome, but we're gonna keep testing it out. Now hole two is a 350-foot backhand turnover. We're gonna put these on a little bit of anhyzer, see how they hold up. Plenty of ice on these tee pads, a little treacherous. Start with the D-line. Let's go Pro line. Oh, a little bit of a slick one out here. Let's try SP, try not to slip. Ah, shoot. That was a double shoot. Try to do a little touch forehand, just straight from the D-line. I freaking hate this now. Start with D-line. Pro line. And finally, SP. We're gonna try to snag hole 3 with the backhand 140 foot. Just right there, easy peasy. Start with the D line. Next we got Pro line. And finally, SP. We have the trinity of breaker throws. Pro line, SP, D line, all like 5 feet apart. So the breaker has a really unique hand feel because it's extremely shallow and these D lines and Pro lines are so flat. I think if you're someone who likes the zone a lot, you'll probably like this. Backhand, they feel really, really similar. Forehand, there's obviously some differences just because this one has the bead, and the bead for me kind of sits between my fingers when I do a forehand grip, which your mileage is gonna kind of vary on how you grip the disc and how the bead is gonna come into play there. For me personally, I don't really mind the bead. It doesn't really change the forehand for me too much. Backhand, because these are just so shallow, they feel a little too thin in my hand sometimes for the backhand. But again, if you're someone who throws the zone on the backhand a lot, you're probably gonna feel at home here. For me, I like the zone a lot on forehand, but I'm usually throwing more of an Envy style disc, which is a little bit taller than this. And I'll actually show the comparison of the Envy versus the breaker because there's also some similarities there. They're both very flat approach discs. The breaker is definitely more overstable and less glidey than something like an Envy, but it's not quite as overstable and has a little more glide than the zone. A zone fresh out of the bag is definitely gonna be more overstable. At least the ones that I've thrown, and I've thrown a lot of zones, but consistently more overstable, more torque resistant. The breaker fits really nicely between something like an Envy and a zone, where if you want something that's not gonna be just really aggressively fading, and you want something with a little more pushing glide, but you don't want something that's just gonna be really floaty, something that's you're gonna have to worry about going past the basket, this is a really nice alternative. It's a really unique spot in the bag, kind of between those. And I think people are gonna try to force this to be a zone disc just because everyone loves those zone style discs. But these discs are different than that. They don't really fit exactly in that zone category, but that's what makes them awesome. It's because they fill a bit of a more unique spot in the marketplace compared to those harp, zone, etc. type discs. And right now, I would say that the D line and the Pro line are really similar stabilities. I've actually been throwing these both for about a month now. So the D line is a little broken in, but still holds up the stability really well. The SP definitely feels a bit more overstable. And again, it has that dome, so it's gonna feel a little bit different in the hand too. Personally, I don't love the way the dome is feeling. Also, on a day like today, this SP plastic, while beautiful and really, really durable, is really slick, especially because it's, it just snowed yesterday here. The ground is really wet. Even when I dry this off, it still feels a little slick and slippery, whereas the Pro line and the D line are offering really good grip despite the wetness. We're gonna try the backhand here on hole 4, just 220 feet straight downhill. Start with the D line. Oh yeah. Going to the Pro line next. Gonna try to get it a little bit flatter, maybe a little bit of Anheuser, just so we can get a little bit of flex so it doesn't fade out too fast. And I'm gonna try to meet those in the middle with the SP. Woo! Oh, dang! Wow, hit the chains on that throw. That was great. I love how it held really straight before fading. That D line did fade out early, but I threw that one a lot more gently. I like how I can throw them all pretty hard and they're just really controllable and they hold really straight before fading. And while we're at it, thanks to my sponsor, Grow and Throw. Check out Grow and Throw here in Columbia, Missouri, or online at growandthrow.shop. They got all your disc golf needs. Amazing people, really knowledgeable about disc golf. You really want to go check those out. growandthrow.shop. Went way past the basket with the SP after hitting the chains. We're gonna try to do a little circle 2 putt with the D-line. Oh, baby! Woo, woo! Yeah, yeah. All right, hole 5, 350 feet. Start straight uphill, gonna do the D-line. Pro line. And SP. Something I've really found that I like about the breaker is it holds the anhyzer really, really well. Whereas a more overstable offering is gonna fight and flex out a little bit early. The breaker, despite being really torque resistant, is gonna follow that anhyzer line a lot further than other typical overstable approach discs. D-line. Pro line, try to put this one a little bit higher. Now that's a beauty. Finally, SP. These all ended up really close to each other, about 20 feet apart. We're gonna putt with the D line from where the pro line ended up. Oh, wow. Total whiff. What about pro line? There we go. Just had to putt with pro line, that's all. Hole 6, 200 feet, basket way to the left. We're gonna take this right gap on hyzer. Start with the D line. Oh, that's a beauty. Nice. Next we'll do pro line. Less beautiful, missed the gap. You know, it happens, that's life sometimes. Let's use the SP to redeem myself. Yeah. Let's give the pro line one more shot. It deserves better than that. That's a beauty. Now look at that consistency. Pro line, SP, D-line. So the breaker is just an awesome disc. I feel like DGA is like the most underrated company ever. They make great plastic. I really like the pro line especially. Feels really good. Their base plastic's nice. The SP is a little slick, but it's really durable, so it's a bit of a trade-off there. And the metal flake is just absolutely stunning. All of these SP ones come in this really beautiful metal flake. But of course, this pro line is my favorite. Just absolutely love the pro line. And this is great for like a 1-disc round. A disc that can do so much. It's overstable, but also holds straight enough where it's really workable, holds an anhyzer line well before flexing out. I really like even putting with the D-line, especially when it's windy. I putt with this D-line actually pretty often, and I really like it. You know, it actually reminds me so much of the Tomb, the Infinite Discs Tomb. It's like really shallow, beaded, really neutral. If you're a Tomb thrower, you gotta pick one of these up because this is just the overstable. This is the Tomb OS basically, or maybe the Zone SS. And that was the moment my camera died. So here we are back in my place with the breaker. I love it. It's a great disc. Go pick one up. If there's any other DGA discs you like or you want to see reviewed, let me know. I don't really know the lineup that well, so I'm always looking for new stuff. Those new Marweed Hurricanes look real nice. Might grab one. Again, thanks to my sponsor, Grow and Throw. Big shout out to them. And you guys for watching till the end. Really appreciate you guys who watched the whole way. And yeah, good stuff. I will see you next time.